Today, we are reading the opening verses of Paul's first letter to Timothy. Now, before we get too far, we need to take a moment to set the stage. First, who's Timothy? Well, according to the book of Acts, chapter 16, the Apostle Paul met Timothy during his second missionary journey in the city of Lystra. Timothy's mother was a Jewish believer in Jesus, and his father was a Greek. Paul liked him and invited Timothy to join him on the mission. And Timothy would essentially become Paul's apprentice. And Paul obviously cared a great deal about him, mentioning him at least 15 times in various letters above and beyond these two letters that are addressed directly to him. Then the second thing we need to know is, where is all of this happening? It's the city of Ephesus. Shortly after recruiting Timothy, Paul ends up establishing a church in Ephesus. And then on Paul's third missionary journey, they go back with Timothy and establish what we might call a seminary, a school for training missionaries. Now, in the Greek and Roman worlds, Ephesus was a major political force. The city was very wealthy. They were home to one of the largest temples in the empire, the Temple of Artemis. And they also had an amazing outdoor theater built from marble. It could seat 24,000 spectators. That's 6,000 more than the Phoenix Sun Arena can accommodate. Because they had a harbor and they were connected to some of the most significant trade routes in the Roman Empire, Ephesus had become a commercial, political, cultural, and intellectual hub for the region. Paul and Timothy had spent more than 2 years there before Paul moved on to Macedonia. And as we see in today's text, Paul encouraged Timothy to stay in Ephesus to protect the community that they had established. And that brings us to the real subject of our reading today. What did the church in Ephesus need to be protected from? Rabbit trails. You know, those trains of thought that seem to take us off the path into a world of endless details that seemed important when we started thinking about it, but now we have no idea where we are or how we got here. Here's what Paul has to say. The purpose of my instruction is that all believers would be filled with love that comes from a pure heart, a clear conscience, and a genuine faith. But some people have missed this whole point. They have turned away from these things and spend their time in meaningless discussions. Apparently, there were some in the community that fancied themselves as experts of the law of Moses, and they were spending all of their time emphasizing their ideas of how to interpret those laws. For the Apostle Paul, the law is a tool to challenge us so that we can realize how much we need Jesus and his gift of love. And for Paul, this is really all the law is good for. The law cannot save us. It can only show us how much we need saving. Now, it seems that Timothy understands that, but he is fighting an uphill battle to keep that perspective in front of the various leaders and preachers of Ephesus. As we read on, we will see that the Apostle Paul is writing to encourage and equip Timothy as he stands up for the mission of proclaiming Jesus' love. As for us, this opening set of verses reminds us to keep our eyes fixed on the big goal of shining the light and love of Christ, and to avoid being sucked into petty discussions about meaningless details. Thomas Aquinas said it this way: Lord, in my zeal for the love of truth, let me not forget the truth about love. Our mission is clear: to proclaim the good news that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Repent and believe. If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.